In every healthy relationship, whether it's romantic, sexual, emotional, or even just a close friendship, there's one core element that must always be present: consent. Yet, despite being such a vital part of human interaction, the concept of consent is often misunderstood, misrepresented, or even completely ignored. In today's video, we're going to break it down clearly and informatively. What is consent in a relationship? Why is it important? And how can we make sure we're respecting it in every step of our interactions with others? Let's start with a basic definition. Consent means a mutual agreement between people to engage in a particular activity. It's an enthusiastic, clear, and voluntary yes from everyone involved. But it's much more than just saying the word yes. It's about communication, understanding, and respect. Consent is not a one-time checkbox. It's not something you get once and then never revisit. In relationships, especially intimate or sexual ones, consent must be ongoing. This means checking in with your partner, making sure they're still comfortable, and giving them the freedom to change their mind at any time. If someone agrees to something once, it doesn't mean they've agreed forever. Consent must be present every single time. There are four essential elements that define valid consent. It must be freely given, informed, enthusiastic, and reversible. Let's go through them one by one. First, freely given means that the person is making the choice without pressure, manipulation, or coercion. If someone feels forced to say yes, either out of fear, guilt, or pressure, that is not consent. For example, saying if you loved me, you would do this is manipulation, and manipulation voids true consent. Second, consent must be informed. This means the person knows exactly what they are agreeing to. If someone agrees to an activity under false pretenses or without knowing all the facts, their consent is not valid. For instance, if a person agrees to a sexual act assuming protection will be used, and then it's not, that's a violation of their informed consent. Third, enthusiastic consent is about wanting to do something, not feeling obligated. A hesitant "I guess so" or a quiet nod doesn't count. Consent should be enthusiastic, which doesn't mean jumping for joy every time, but it does mean someone is genuinely interested and willing. Finally, reversible consent means a person can change their mind at any time. Even if you're in the middle of an activity, anyone can say, "I don't want to continue," and that decision must be respected immediately. Relationships thrive on respect, not entitlement. Now that we understand what real consent looks like, let's talk about what consent is not. Silence is not consent. Being in a relationship is not automatic consent. Wearing certain clothes, flirting, or even agreeing to one thing doesn't mean agreeing to everything. Consent is not a contract that binds someone to do something they're no longer comfortable with. Another big myth is that married people or long-term partners don't need to ask for consent. This is completely false. Consent is necessary in every relationship, no matter how long you've been together. Just because someone said yes yesterday doesn't mean they're saying yes today. Respecting your partner's boundaries every time is what builds trust and safety. Let's explore how we can practice consent in real-life relationships, not just in sexual contexts, but in everyday interactions. For example, asking before hugging or touching someone is a form of consent. If your partner is upset, don't assume they want to be touched. Ask first, "Do you want a hug?" or "Can I hold your hand?" are simple yet powerful questions that show respect for personal space and autonomy. In emotional situations, too, consent plays a role. Let's say your partner is having a bad day. Instead of jumping in with advice or trying to fix things, ask, "Do you want to talk about it, or would you prefer some quiet time?" This kind of communication respects emotional boundaries. Consent is also critical in digital relationships. Sending intimate messages, photos, or sharing private information without someone's permission is a serious violation. Always ask before sharing something personal, even if you're close. And if someone shares something private with you, keep that trust sacred. So how do we ask for consent in a natural, respectful way? Some people worry that asking questions will ruin the mood or make things awkward, but in reality, clear communication makes relationships stronger. Asking "Are you okay with this?" or "Do you want to keep going?" shows that you care, not just about the moment, but about the other person's feelings and well-being. In a romantic or sexual relationship, you can try phrases like, "Is this okay with you?" "Do you want to keep going?" "You can tell me to stop at any time. Let me know if you're uncomfortable." These simple words help create a space of mutual trust and safety. And if someone says no, respect it without question. A respectful response might be, "Thank you for telling me. I understand, and I respect your decision." One of the most important aspects of consent is learning to hear a no without taking it personally. As no doesn't mean someone doesn't like you. It doesn't mean you've failed. It just means that your partner is setting a boundary, and that's something to be respected and even appreciated. In many cultures, including in South Asia and other traditional societies, talking openly about consent can feel uncomfortable. But this silence often leads to harmful assumptions, miscommunication, and even abuse. That's why it's essential to normalize these conversations, especially among young people. We need to teach boys and girls alike that everyone has the right to say no, and that everyone has the responsibility to listen when someone says no. Let's also talk about nonverbal consent. Sometimes, people may not use words to express how they feel. That's why paying attention to body language is crucial. If someone looks uncomfortable, pulls away, stays silent, or freezes, these are signs that they might not be okay with what's happening. In such moments, stop immediately and check in. There are also times when someone can't give consent, for example, if they're asleep, unconscious, intoxicated, or underage. In these situations, even if someone doesn't resist, it still isn't consent. You must never assume. A person must be fully aware, sober, and capable of making a clear decision. Let's also highlight a very important point. Consent goes both ways. No matter your gender, everyone deserves to have their boundaries respected. Women, men, and non-binary people all have the right to say no, and the right to be heard. We should all learn how to give and receive consent in a respectful, non-judgmental way. In healthy relationships, consent becomes part of the rhythm. It's not a burden, it's a bond. It shows that both partners care about each other's comfort, safety, and happiness. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. In fact, many couples say that checking in with each other deepens their intimacy and trust. To wrap things up, let's remember, consent is about respect. It's about communication. It's about valuing your partner as a human being, not just someone who meets your needs. By practicing consent every day, in conversations, in actions, and in relationships, we build a culture of care and mutual respect. So if you're in a relationship, take the time to talk about boundaries, comfort levels, and emotional safety. Be open, be kind, and always remember, the strongest relationships are the ones where both people feel free to be themselves and to say yes or no without fear. If this video helped you understand consent better, please give it a like, share it with someone who might benefit, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or experiences. Let's start normalizing conversations about consent, because everyone deserves to feel safe, heard, and respected. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.